This is Module 4, Critical Thinking by Meredith Hill. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is the ability to analyze, infer, interpret, evaluate, explain, and self-regulate. It is also the ability to make good decisions and to clearly explain the foundation for those decisions. Critical thinking is part of a group of cognitive abilities and personal characteristics called higher order thinking skills, or HOTS. It is also based on Bloom's taxonomy of educational goals. Bloom's taxonomy of educational goals is divided into 6 phases. The first 3 competencies, knowledge, comprehension, and application, are considered to be the lower order thinking skills. Analysis, synthesis, and evaluation are considered critical thinking or higher order skills. I know that when I am teaching my first graders, it is very easy to have them define things, observe, list, name. It is also easy to ask them questions on the comprehension part where they might tell what might happen next, or can they write in their own words about what is happening? Can they retell what they just learned by providing examples and explaining? Application is using learned material in a new situation. Some question stems that you might use to ask students would be, let's build a, can you make, solve the problem, or they might be able to conduct an experiment. The last, or the top 3 of Bloom's taxonomy are considered the higher order thinking skills. Analysis. Analysis verbs are compare, group, separate, identify, arrange, compare, and contrast. Some question stems that you might ask students would be, how did, if this happened, how might things have been different? Could this have really happened? What was the underlying theme? Can you distinguish between? In the analysis part, they are taking apart and breaking down ideas and concepts. Synthesis. Synthesis is putting together, combining parts to form a new whole. Some verbs that go with synthesis are combine, add together, create, design, invent, plan, imagine, compose, construct, and formulate. Some question stems that you might use to ask students is, what ideas can you add to? Can you invent a new use for something? What might have happened if you combined this and this? And write about your feelings in relation to, or maybe they can create a book club. The top of the pyramid is evaluation, which is judging, stating an opinion about the value of material. This is where you decide. You choose, you make a recommendation, you criticize, judge, justify, argue, and rate. Some question stems might be, what do you think? Do you agree? What is the most important thing? Is there a better solution? Can you defend? Do you believe? How would you have handled it? The teacher's role. The teacher's role in making sure that students understand and are able to think critically are using overtly and explicitly explain what they do and why. Encourage students to think for themselves. Be willing to admit and correct their own mistakes. Be sensitive to students' feelings, abilities, and goals and to what motivates them. Allow students to participate in democratic processes in the classroom. It is important that teachers are being a model and helping students to see the need for an excitement of being able to think critically. However, not only as the teacher's role, there are also some challenges. Learning to think critically takes time, and it requires many examples and practice across a variety of contexts. However, teaching students to think critically is not always an easy task, and it may be made more difficult by having students from cultures that do not value or promote displays of critical thinking. Therefore, teachers need to understand their students' approaches to reasoning and objection and to teach critical thinking supported by technology in culturally responsive ways. Guidelines for supporting student critical thinking with technology. Guideline number 1, ask the right questions. Number 2, use tasks with appropriate levels of challenge. Changing the way students are grouped is one way to change the level. Introduce new technologies, change the types of thinking tasks, alter expectations of goals that can be met. Number 3, teach strategies. Model and ask questions is useful, but not enough for students. Good critical thinkers use metacognitive skills, which means that they think about the process of their decision making. The actual teaching of metacognitive strategies can have an impact on when and if students use them. Did I have enough resources? Did I consider issues fairly? Do all the data support my decision? Guideline number 4, encourage curiosity. Why is the grass green? Why do I have to do geometry? Why are we at war? What are clouds made of? Classroom settings often get ignored because of time. If teachers stop learners from being curious and avoid their questions or answer them unsatisfactorily, teachers can shut down the first step toward critical thinking. Thank you for watching Module 4 presentation.